from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. Now, here's Scott Gulbransen and Matt Gutierrez.
Good morning, Raider Nation. It is time for another NFL Sunday. That's right. It is a Silver and Black Sunday as well as we get set for the Raiders at the Broncos. And you are, of course, listening to Las Vegas's only all Raiders talk show. That's right. We're back here in the Dollar Loan Center, don'tbebroke.com studio for another week of Raiders football talk on the Silver and Black Today. Hi, I'm Scott Gulbransen, along with my co-host and the man with the legendary Tim Brown's jersey on today, Matt Gutierrez. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Tim Brown, man. Number 81. That was my guy back in the day.
Well, today they could use Tim Brown up in Denver. But each week, again, we talk Raiders football, but we don't want to be the third. We want you to be the third host, I should say. Can the Raiders beat the tough defense of the Broncos and the Broncos' new quarterback? How long will it be for the Raiders until they get that first win of the season? Tell us what you think. Dial in at 702-889-5978. That's 702-889-5978. Reminder, we are also streaming today's show on Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to head on over there, you can see us live here in the studio. In addition to that, we will walk through what we got on the show today. Really good stuff. It's, again, filled with some great guests. The first hour of the show on our regular now weekly segment entitled My Cousin Vinny. That's right. Vinny Bonsignore will join us each week to give us the latest from Raider Nation and around the NFL. Vinny is a longtime NFL columnist with the Athletic Los Angeles. He's very well connected, so he will give us all that is going on inside the league and inside with the Raiders. Also in the first hour, a new guest. We're glad to have her on, the NFL Network's MJ Acosta. She'll join us. Acosta is the Raiders and 49ers correspondent on the network. She'll tell us the current mood in the locker room from the Raiders' perspective after week one and offer other insights in the current state of the team. By the way, MJ Acosta, the first Latina hired on the NFL Network, Matt.
Following in Al Davis's footsteps.
Exactly.
Groundbreaking.
So that was actually shocking to me. But nonetheless, we're joining MJ. She's great, longtime broadcaster. Just got out of San Diego where they have no NFL team.
It is shocking when you think about it because you stop and look and go, man, it's an all boys world right there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
I mean, they need I think probably start looking in that direction a little more often.
Just a little bit, if you follow demographics right in the country. Then at the end, towards the end of the first hour, actually quarter till, we will welcome back silverandblack.com senior NFL analyst Chris Reed. Chris did an amazing job of breaking down the Raiders' first-round draft pick, Colt Miller's first start for the Raiders last week. He'll put it in terms the rest of us can understand because he's a coach too, so he does a really good job of breaking it down. And so if you haven't read his piece, I suggest you go do that over at silverandblacktoday.com. He's just brilliant at breaking down, so he'll be with us. Then in the second hour, we will be joined live from Denver. Yes, Denver, where the Donkeys play.
Horrible fans, man. I'm not kidding you, and I know this comes from somebody who grew up a Raiders fan, but I've been to a lot of stadiums in this country and dealt with a lot of fan bases while wearing the silver and black.
Yeah.
Denver is hands down the worst that I've been to. And it's not even close.
Really?
Not even close. I was there for a Monday night game, about 6 years ago. This is the game that Janikowski hit the 63-yarder in, the one doubleheader opening night Monday night game that the Raiders actually won because it was on the road, of course. But I was there with my brother. I had rented a car. I brought my flags with me, my car flags, right? Stuck them on the windows, representing the Raider Nation out there. Came out, and they had torn the flags. Not torn, broken the flags off that car. I'm lucky they didn't shatter the windows. I would have been stuck with broken windows on a rental car.
Boy, you're brave and trusting that you would leave the flags on the car.
I've done it. I've done it everywhere I've gone, man. Denver fans, the only ones that come out and snap them right off.
And you put Raider flags on your car in Kansas City?
No, I did not in Kansas City. But Kansas City fans are actually pretty cool overall. We caught a lot of heat walking out of Mile High Stadium. Just in general, a lot of heat walking out of there from just random fans. It wasn't really like that in Kansas City. You have a couple knuckleheads here and there, but Kansas City fans are pretty cool overall.
Well,
even though I hate the Chiefs.
It'll be interesting because the the Raiders actually own the series with the Broncos. We'll talk about that too. But Scott Bair from NBC Sports Bay Area will help us preview the Raiders versus the Broncos and give us the latest from the stadium on how the Raiders are preparing for today's game. So there you have it, Raider Nation. You're up to date. We've set kind of the topics on the table, what we're going to be talking about, who we're going to be talking to. We want to talk to you. 702-889-5978 is the number, so call in. And so let's start, Matt. First of all, we saw this week with Raider Nation a little bit, I believe, of some overreaction as it relates to what happened last week. Now, the one thing is, if you listen to this show, you know that we predicted the score. You were 2 points below, or below the Rams score at 31. I was 2 points above. No, sorry, 1 point above at 34, and we weren't far off. In fact, we had a bunch of people on social media say, God, you guys called this perfectly.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people were surprised or why people feel like this was such a letdown.
The result wasn't surprising, in my opinion.
Right.
It was the way the team played, in particular, Derek Carr, that was surprising. You don't expect that, because last year you gave Carr a pass coming off the leg injury, getting the early season back injury. You gave him a pass along with Todd Downing's offense for not pushing the ball down the field, not being willing to stay in the pocket, maybe take that hit that he was willing to take in 16, not so much last year. But you saw all of that come through again today. And last week.
Monday.
In the couple of moments that we saw in preseason, Carr took shots. He was willing to throw the ball a little bit down the field. You saw none of that the other day. 9 targets to the wide receivers. 9 times. There you go. You like that one.
I love the Ferris
reference
Bueller.
right there. But that's it. 9 targets to your wide receivers. That, I understand that you had a really good secondary on the other side, but you can't tell me that only, I think, Cooper had, 4 targets in the entire game? He was only open 4 times the entire game?
No, and in fact, we're gonna ask some of our guests about this later, Matt, but John Gruden, who does send messages to his players, even though the guy has no problem being blunt, he sent a message to Derek Carr again. He said, hey, look, we had Amari Cooper open down the field. We just didn't go there.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't stay away from your receivers to that degree. It's one thing to have to check down from time to time or to try to exploit matchups, which they did really well with Jared Cook, who you called as your player of the game, the guy who was going to have a great game, and he did. 180 yards, new Raider tight end record. That was great. But you can't just play the check down game. And Aqib Talib talked about it after the game that they became predictable in the second half. Well, yeah, if you watch the second half, all he did was dump the ball off to Jalen Richard or throw it short to Jared Cook. That was their entire offense, and that's you can't win a game doing that against a team as talented as the Rams. And where was the play action? Where was that tough, hard-nosed running game that we saw on that first drive that they completely abandoned after that?
Yeah, and in defense of Derek Carr, now again, he looked horrible in the second half. There's no you don't candy coat it. You don't do any of that, and neither did he. But also, there was some coaching flaws. I mean, I really saw, you go back to play calling. And, yeah, if your quarterback's not doing what you want him to do, it's a little more difficult perhaps, or you lose some confidence there. But at the end of the day, Matt, I think that there was a lot of blame to go around. It's just that Carr is so visible and as being the quarterback on the field. And just the tale of 2 halves, right? Going from what they went through in the first half to what they went through in the second half and how they played. I think that's where people got really struck by it all, right? But I just think that it was a little bit of an overreaction in that a lot of people saying, look, Derek Carr's done. Now, you were very vocal. You said, hey, listen, the time is coming where he's going to have to get better.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no doubt about that.
Well, because now you have John Gruden in there who, Gruden loves Carr. He was a big fan of Carr before he ever decided to come back to coaching. But if Carr's not productive, we've already seen Gruden has no problem shipping you out. That's just the way that it is. You need to be productive on the field. You have to win games. Not to beat a dead horse, but to go back to Khalil Mack wasn't there. He wasn't at camp. He wasn't on the field. And in John Gruden's eyes, you're not helping this team. You got to go.
Right.
Don't think that he wouldn't do that with Derek Carr if after 6, 8, 10 weeks of this season, Carr's still doing this, 2.1 seconds, the ball's out of my hand to Jalen Richard, who's only 2 yards down the field kind of thing. Gruden's not going to put up with it.
No, and I think that's where it's at. But again, it's 1 week. You know, Raider Nation is such a fan base of extremes. When things go really well, everyone believes they're going to be in the Super Bowl. And when things go bad, it's fire everybody. This guy can't play.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I understand it, though. I mean, again, we go back to what you always say, right? Fan is short for fanatic. And that's fine. I just think that what do you want? So you don't think Derek Carr's an elite quarterback? Okay. Let's go with that premise just for a minute. What are you going to do between now and then? I mean, that means you got to draft another quarterback. Mm-hmm. Which there are none for the next 2 years, by the way. Worth a damn, in my view.
A.J. McCarron, I don't think is the guy.
I don't
Let's
think
be
so
honest, 2 weeks in, he doesn't have that system down. There's no way. And to be honest with you, I personally, I'm not worried about Carr because we've seen what he can be. Gruden just needs to help him get back to that. We've seen Carr be an MVP caliber quarterback. We know what he can do on the field. We just need to see that again. Gruden needs to help him get back to that point. I think Carr can be that guy. It's not time to jump off a bridge yet. But, again, as far as the results is concerned, this is what we expected.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little more about that. We're going to have up in this next segment Vinny Bonsignore from The Athletic with our regular weekly segment now called My Cousin Vinny, because his name is Vinny. I don't know if anybody gets that. I didn't do 2 Utes. I didn't look up another line, so we'll figure it out. But we're going to come back with him here in just a minute. And when we do, we're going to talk Raiders. We're going to talk also a little bit AFC West, Matt. It was an interesting week in the AFC West. So when we come back, we'll be joined by Vinny Bonsignore. You're listening to the Silver and Black today on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
on Jared Goff.